You are listening live to the Vito and Vito Show.
Disrespectful to the executive branch.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
Don't sign the damn deal, and the president won't.
Therefore, I do not believe that the majority can vote a man's life or property or freedom away from him.
And we're live here on the Vito and Vito Show. I am Vito Palmieri. The other Vito taking the night off. So we're doing this alone here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We want to welcome you to the Vito and Vito Show. I'm going to give you a little background on what the show is about. The show is about two college-age millennial conservatives. Right now, just one. Giving you the best in conservative talk. We are talking about the issues on college campuses. We're talking about the issues around the world. We're talking about Colin Kaepernick tonight. And we're talking about Donald Trump. Did he change his immigration stance? He gave, I think, as Ann Coulter said, one of the greatest speeches we've ever seen from a public figure. And on top of that, the way he handled himself by meeting with the president of Mexico, I think is enough evidence to suggest that Donald Trump can be not just the president of the United States, but probably one of the greatest ones. And I say that very strongly. Give us a follow at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Vito and Vito Show. Check out the website, www.vitoandvito.com. We'll have Forget About It moments for you later on in the show. But right now, let's kick back and enjoy about an hour of just me tonight on the phone. I think that's pretty cool, right? Got me on the tubes as I give you what's going down and what's going on in the world of politics. So let's break it down like this. Here we go. Before we start, I want to say, lost somebody very tragic this past week. Everyone knows who this person is. Gene Wilder passed away, great comedian. And my hearts go out to the family. He's one of my favorite actors, one of my favorite comedians. Blazing Saddles, the producers, Willy Wonka. So, this one's for you, big guy. This was for Gene Wilder. Don't know if he was listening to the program, but I do know that this is for him. All right, so let's break it down. Here we go. Donald Trump. Did he change his position on amnesty? We all know that Donald Trump, there's been speculation. We had a big argument here on the show, the other Vito and I, about Donald Trump changing his position on amnesty. The Never Trump crowd, Red State, Conservative Review, all the Never Trumpers got on board and attacked Trump, saying that he had no understanding of this issue, number one. And number two, that he was flip-flopping on his major plank. The major plank of his campaign. Not to mention also that the media was just as ruthless as the Never Trump people. Hillary Clinton and the Democrats working with the media, attacking Trump, spewing lies about how he's changed his campaign platform. There was speculation all over CNN. I got so sick of watching the Communist News Network. Because all they kept doing was having guests come on saying how awful it would be if Trump loses such a big support base. How he couldn't win the presidency by turning his back on the people that actually came out and support him because of his immigration plan. We heard how Trump, there's a problem with him. They don't know if he's ready to be president because he doesn't know what position he wants to go in. MSNBC had a doctor come on and blast Trump. Granted, we've had a doctor come on in the past talk about Donald Trump's psychological well-being, but it was merely just an opinion. MSNBC had ulterior motives to what they do, as they always do. And they brought somebody on to strictly attack Donald Trump. So, I want to make this very clear right now. All the speculation and all the talk that's been going on in the past week, let it be known right now and right here that Donald Trump did not change a tune on his immigration policy. The Republican presidential nominee on Wednesday re-upped the harsh, I'm reading CNN here, so you can tell where this is going right away. It's harsh to follow the law, but nonetheless. The Republican presidential nominee on Wednesday re-upped the harsh immigration rhetoric that electrified his primary campaign, vowing no amnesty for undocumented migrants. Notice, see, here's the kicker here. Notice how they use the word migrants. They don't use undocumented aliens, undocumented immigrants, illegal immigrants. They're going to use some BS excuse here to walk around the political correctness line. So I'm just reading. I'm not even a sentence in, and I'm dealing with the mainstream media lying to you. The ulterior motives of the mainstream media comes right out in force. So, I mean, it just baffles me, but it should baffle you too. Anyway, Donald Trump said he promised to build a beautiful and an impenetrable border wall that Mexico would pay for. And this is what Donald Trump said in Phoenix. He had an amazing speech in Phoenix. Here's what he said. This election is our last chance to secure the border, stop illegal immigration, and reform our laws to make your life better. I love it. CNN called it red meat rhetoric. So, I mean, someone's got to show me where Donald Trump changed his tune on immigration, because he certainly did not. If anything, the man stood tall, stood for what he believed in, and continues to stand tall and stands for what he believes in. So I'm so sick and tired of the media and the narrative spinning out of control in an attempt to destroy a man who has worked very hard to get what he has in business and now in politics, who destroys his family, who destroys his credibility, who go after his hair. I mean, it doesn't end. And the more and more Trump speaks, and the more and more he continues to say what he says, the more and more committed he is to his word, the better off we'll be. Donald Trump has not changed his position on immigration. That's just a fact. He's open to a deportation force. He wants to work inside the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. He wants to identify and remove the most dangerous criminal illegal aliens in America. He would boost the ranks of enforcement agents to enforce existing laws, something the President of the United States that right now is in office is not doing. Do we remember DACA and DAPA? The President's immigration plans to stop the deportation of illegal immigrants in this country? I don't see where Donald Trump is wrong here. More importantly, I don't see where Donald Trump is losing. Because you might point to the poll numbers and say it's not going well in the swing states. Well, then answer me this. If Donald Trump is not winning in the swing states, what makes it seem that if he was going to win, he'd have to change his immigration platform? Because I reckon it's his immigration platform that gets blue-collar Americans riled up. I'd gather that it's his immigration platform that gets union members who have historically voted Democrat to switch over and vote for Trump. I also see it that Donald Trump is targeting African Americans, legal immigrants in this country, who are being cut out of the labor force because of illegal immigrants. So contrary to popular belief, Donald Trump is doing the right thing, I think. And he's got to stick on his message. He hasn't changed the tune. He's reinforced his position. One of the greatest things that Trump did throughout this entire thing was when he went to speak with the President of Mexico. So here's a guy, not even President of the United States yet. He goes in with a position that he's not going to waver on. So to all the Trumpers out there who say Trump is going to waver and compromise on everything, explain to me why he didn't go into the meeting with the Mexican president and he didn't change his stance on immigration. Because he could have easily said, I went to go speak with the president of Mexico, and then you know what, I talked to him, I understood what he said, and I think we should keep a lot of those illegal immigrants here because they're good people. BS. Trump went into Mexico, spoke with the Mexican president, had his head held up high, and continued to argue from a position of strength. And this is a presidential candidate we're talking about. We're not talking about some strange man. We're not talking about some guy who just flew to Mexico or celebrity or just someone out of the woodworks. We're talking about a presidential candidate. We're not even talking about a politician, a man not even in office yet. Trump is out there telling you what he thinks needs to be done and doing it by meeting with the president of Mexico. He goes there from a position of strength as opposed to what Obama has done historically with Iran, what Hillary Clinton has done with Russia, Syria, Libya, and go to these countries by a position of weakness. It's diplomacy 101. It's very Reagan-esque. I'm not going to call him Ronald Reagan because Reagan proved himself. And I think Trump still has to prove himself because, again, he's not president of the United States yet, so you never know what people are going to do. But right now, he's hitting all the right notes. And on top of that, the more and more he continues to play up those cards, the more and more he continues to argue and say how we need to enforce the laws in this nation, we have to stop illegal immigration, we have to protect American workers, we have to give them their jobs back, make it appealing for companies to come work in this country, and stop radical Islam, I don't see where he can go wrong. Trump goes to Mexico, speaks to the Mexican president. They had a whole big issue on who's going to pay for the wall. And even Trump said we haven't even discussed that yet. The Mexican president jumped in and said we're not paying for the wall. So, at the start of the conversation with Donald Trump, I made it very clear that Mexico will not pay for the wall. That's what Peña Nieto tweeted. That's the president of Mexico. So he said that the Mexicans aren't going to pay for the wall. All right. Take it one step at a time. And even Trump said we haven't even gotten to that in our discussions today. But here's the best part about Donald Trump and what he did. The man did not waver, nor did he compromise at any level. He stood his ground. He talked about what he was going to talk about. He didn't leave. And ultimately, as a voter who is voting for Trump, that just reinforces me going to the voting booth in November and pulling the lever for Trump. Because he just has this wonderful gravitas of a man who is confident, the oozing of confidence pours out of Donald Trump. And I think helps make this country great. That's something. And that's something for any independent or moderate voter out there who doesn't know if they're voting for Trump or Hillary. Ask yourself this. Who would you rather see negotiate a deal? Trump or Hillary? Who do you think? Think about this. You're going into the boardroom. You're going to sit down with another world leader face to face. Who do you want looking Putin in the eye? Who do you want looking Kim Jong-un in the eye? The Mexican president. You name it. The president of China. The prime minister of England. Who do you want looking that person in the eye? You want Hillary Clinton? You really think Hillary Clinton is going to have the ability to stare at somebody from another part of the world, a world leader, look them straight in the eye and not mess up? As if Benghazi wasn't enough? Or Libya or Syria? I mean, or Russia. But Donald Trump is a man who will look squarely in the eye of Putin, or the Mexican president, and I believe will not waver. What he did, I think, is going to boost his poll numbers up tremendously. Because you're not dealing with a man who just sits and blabbers, contrary to what the media will have you believe. But you're dealing with a man who actually went down to meet with the president of Mexico as a presidential candidate. And the fact that the Mexican president even offered to actually speak, or accepted, rather, the invitation to speak with Donald Trump should even speak more volumes, because that means somebody's respecting something. The Mexican president is respecting the fact that Donald Trump is where he is right now, the Republican nominee for president, possibly president of the United States, and is willing to have a conversation with him. I remember all the Never Trumpers, especially on red states, saying that if Donald Trump gets the nomination or becomes president, there's no way the president of Mexico will take him seriously. MSNBC, Comedy Central, for Christ's sakes, ran all these terrible things. saying that it's ludicrous, Trump's immigration plan. So why would we even entertain it? Why would another world leader entertain such a crazy idea? Well, why is it that the Mexican president met with presidential candidate Donald Trump? That doesn't speak to the level of gravitas that Donald Trump has. That doesn't speak to the level of confidence and ultimately power and influence that he could possibly bring to the boardroom. Come on. Isn't that something? We gave millions of dollars to Iran, and they didn't give us back our prisoners. We also gave them the green light in a way to build their nuclear program. I find it very hard to believe that Donald Trump is going to waver on such a big part of his campaign. Plus, think of the disaster that would occur if he does so. If he were to change his immigration plan on the stump, like CNN and the rest of the news outlets are reporting, he would lose the election tenfold. His base of voters would walk away from him. Why the hell would anybody want that to happen if you're in the Trump campaign? It's political suicide. However, Trump stuck to his guns and continued to argue what he wanted to argue for. He knows damn well that this country needs saving, and he knows just damn well what to do about it. So I cannot go and attack Donald Trump, and I cannot understand the logic behind Donald Trump is a flip-flopper. Those arguments I just don't see happening right now. I don't see the validity to them. But Trump has something to him. He has something to him that I think everybody needs to take notice about. It makes the world go round when a leader of this country, as a young man, when I see the leader of this country, the greatest country in the history of the world, contrary to Colin Kaepernick, which we'll talk about next, it is amazing that the leader of the free world gets up and will speak about safe borders, putting an end to radical Islam, restoring law and order, and bringing jobs back to a country, economic growth and prosperity. That makes the world go round because Western civilizations, following the model of what Donald Trump is doing, can help propel the world to a better place. We're talking about an economic powerhouse the United States can become again. We're talking about a country where people are proud to be an American. Where African Americans are not sitting in Detroit right now unemployed. I'm not saying Trump's going to come in and there's going to be peace on earth and prosperity and amazement. What I am saying is Donald Trump is going to come in, if he gets elected into God, I hope he does. But we're going to see a complete change in the way this country is being run. That's something. Ann Coulter also said that you don't really need Congress for a lot of these things. Now, I know that's going to become a touchy issue, but Congress is responsible for the immigration laws in this country, as per Article 1 of the Constitution. However, there are immigration laws already on the books. And Trump has said he's going to enforce those laws that are on the books. Enforcement of the laws is the job of the president. So you tell me who you'd rather have. Protecting the border, building a wall, let's not forget the wall, stopping radical Islam, bringing back jobs to America. You tell me. Anyway, the Vito and Vito Show, we're going to break. When we return here to the Vito and Vito Show, Colin Kaepernick. I used to be a fan. I think you can find out why. I'm not a fan anymore. We're going to break. Don't go anywhere. Vito and Vito coming right back.
Who might you save?
Your mother, your father, your husband, uncle, aunt, son.
Learn FAST, F-A-S-T, the sudden signs of a stroke, and you could save.
Your friend, teacher, boss.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. F-A-S-T. That's F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in the recovery of
Your neighbor, the waiter, grandmother, grandfather.
So learn FAST, the sudden signs of a stroke, then pass it on, because you never know who might save you.
Your wife, your colleague.
Spot a
children.
stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org, brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs, the California Society of CPAs, and the Ad Council.
Fighting the Common Core standards? Need a powerful tool to help inform others on this harmful education initiative? You're covered with Common Ground on Common Core, the collection of essays by 20 top education experts and activists. Reviewers call it the best single resource on the topic. You can share it with literally anyone. Order your print or digital copy of Common Ground on Common Core today. Just visit resoundingbooks.org. That's resoundingbooks.org. And get $2 off when you tell them Vito and Vito sent you. Paid for by Resounding Books Pack.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was
the
fine.
most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message. Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ReadyPA.org, brought to you by ReadyPA, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
And we're back here on the Vito and Vito Show. Check out the website, www.vitoandvito.com. Give us a follow at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Vito and Vito Show. I'm Vito Palmieri. Vito DiGiovanni's taking the night off. And I want to talk to you, ladies and gentlemen, about a very special book that I use all the time against my liberal college professors when we're talking about education policy in this country. The book's called Common Ground on Common Core. Voices from across the political spectrum expose the realities of the Common Core state standards. When an ideologically diverse array of the nation's top education activists and experts come together within the pages of a single volume to speak out against the Common Core state standards and related initiatives in education, the magnitude of the issue could not be more clearer. This book has writers all across the political spectrum. Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Progressive, whatever. Bloggers, moms, lawyers, academic researchers, a social worker, a local school board member, an engineer, all across the political spectrum come together to help write articles in this book to help you understand the true absurdity that is what we call Common Core. Hillary Clinton's a supporter of it, and God knows what she's going to do when she becomes president of the United States, if she becomes president of the United States. God knows what she's going to do with the Common Core system. Is she going to continue to expand this system? Is she going to minimize it? Chances are she's probably going to expand it. So what do we do to save this country's education system? Because it's already a mess. Look at the colleges. Common Ground on Common Core is the book that I use all the time when I argue against liberal professors and academics and leftist students alike. Don't matter. When talking about the disruptive nature of Common Core. So I want you to get the book. I want you to go right now to www.vitoandvito.com. On the left-hand corner, click on the link, Common Ground on Common Core. Use the promo code Vito and Vito. Vito and Vito is the promo code. You save 10%. So get that book, Common Ground on Common Core, the best single resource for understanding and fighting back against Common Core that exists. Logan Albright of Freedom Works said that, and it's even got a forward by Ron Paul, a patriot. Check it out. Common Ground on Common Core, Save 10% by using the promo code Vito and Vito. You can find the link at www.vitoandvito.com. All right, let's talk about Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick, who I think some people were going to pick as their quarterback for their fantasy football teams. I don't know why, but some were going to do it. He hasn't played since, I think, November or something? But anyway, this loser, we all saw what happened. For those of you who don't know, Colin Kaepernick didn't stand for the national anthem for the game, a preseason game that happened a couple of weeks ago, or last week. He didn't want to get up because he was protesting the treatment of minorities and African Americans today by the hands of police officers and the government. So he's a part of the whole Black Lives Matter racist movement, organization, whatever you want to call it. Who knows if he donates to them? He probably does. Because they all do. They all feel like they're being a part of something. They all think they're helping. They're helping. Helping what? They're helping black people kill kill more black people? What are these people doing? Are they helping black people? These Black Lives Matter supporters, these big Hollywood big shots and football players and basketball players? Are they helping black people loot and destroy their own neighborhoods in the name of what? But I digress. Well, not really. Colin Kaepernick has willingly immersed himself into the controversy by refusing to stand for the playing of the national anthem in protest of what he deems as wrongdoing against African Americans and minorities in the U.S. This is what he said. I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country. Right there. What an... You fill in the blank. You're not going to show pride in a flag for a country. That's not even what it's about, you moron. You don't just get up and it just shows pride in a flag. The flag is a symbol of the men and women who've died in the service of this country to assure that you could play football. On top of that, the flag is also a representation of the philosophical values of individualism, small government, freedom, and the ability to be left alone. That's what the American flag represents. If you're against that, you're against America. It's very simple. The logic makes sense. Someone tell me where I'm wrong. Anyway, so this is what Colin Kaepernick says. I'll read the whole thing in its entirety, and then I'll go crazy. He said, I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. Okay, I'm going to say this again and again. The more and more we continue to say that black people are oppressed in today's society, the more and more we continue to say that black people can't do it for themselves. It's inherently racist when you thoroughly support a Black Lives Matter movement that is pent up on keeping black people as victims. Kaepernick also said, to me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. Here's the best part, there are bodies in the street and people getting paid leave and getting away with murder. Okay, alright, let's play a game. Does anyone know, I'm going to give you two choices here. You tell me what the answer is. On average, per year, which race of people gets killed more by police? White or black? Go ahead, take your time. If you said white, you're a winner. Yep. There's your bell. You won. We really got to go over the statistics again. The statistics are black and white. No pun intended. It's very simple to understand that white people, statistically speaking, are killed more every year by police officers than black people. Do you know which is more dangerous in America right now? Black on black crime or white on black crime? Go ahead. I'll give you a chance to answer that question. If you said black on black crime is more prevalent in today's society, you're right. Very good. Very good. The utter racism and stupidity that comes out of people's mouths should baffle me. Should baffle you. Baffles me, but it should really baffle you. Because you're sitting at home listening to this program, or in the car, or wherever, and you say to yourself, how the hell is it possible that black people in today's society, with affirmative action, with a black president, with black celebrities, with BET, right? How the hell are black people marginalized in today's society? Because when a black man applies to a college, he has a better shot of getting into that college because he's black. If a black man wants to become a police officer or a civil servant, a fireman or whatever, he has a better job because he's black. You also have a better shot if you're a woman. You also have a better shot, apparently, if you're gay in some places. So it doesn't matter what you bring to the table. It matters about, what color your skin is, what you have in between your legs, what you fancy in bed. That matters more than the content of your character, according to some places. And it pisses me off to no end when it realizes that the world we live in today is nothing but reverse racism. It's everywhere, no matter where you look. It is absolutely, positively disgusting. Because today, in today's society, if Colin Kaepernick had two brains, or one brain, excuse me, I'm losing it. If Colin Kaepernick had any brains, he would understand that it is much harder being a white guy in today's society, a white straight male, than anything else. I said it. You can call me anything you want, but you know it's damn well the truth. You speak to any Black Lives Matter protester. Ask them, how are black people today marginalized? Tell me, Colin. Tell me right now, how are black people today marginalized? Somebody please give me an answer. They will never answer the question. You notice that? Never. Any Black Lives Matter supporter, and don't even give me that crap, that I just don't understand what it is to be black. Because that's total bull. What kind of a damn argument is that? You don't understand what it means to be black. That's an argument? That's an argument. And I'm supposed to say, okay, you're right. Therefore, you're 100% right. Logically, that makes no sense. You know what that's like? That's like a Republican, a conservative, saying to President Obama, take Ted Cruz, for example, a stand-up guy. Ted Cruz goes up to President Obama and says, you don't understand what the free market is because you're not a conservative. And President Obama then says, you're right, I don't know what a conservative is thinking, therefore you're probably 100% right because I can never get down to the bottom of what you're thinking. What the hell kind of argument is that? Does that make any sense? What they do is they take their own subjective reasoning, the Black Lives Matter protesters, DeRay, and the guy Sean King who writes for the New York Daily News, which is a disgusting publication, by the way. I don't buy it. Not anymore. They used to have a pretty good sports section, but not anymore. And they completely miss the boat. They'll take their own subjective experiences, they'll take their own subjective ideas, their own personal beliefs, and they'll say that that is the truth. But it's never tested in the realm of reality, never tested in the objective world in which we live, in the concrete, real world. Never. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Anyway, Colin Kaepernick also made news because the moron was running around with socks that had pictures. This is like during practice. He had a picture on his socks. He had a picture, or multiple pictures, of pigs, the animal pigs, with police hats on. So it's symbolizing cops are pigs. So okay. What I don't really, and this is, I mean, it's not really that hard to understand, but somebody please tell me this. Colin Kaepernick, I'm sure, one day, and I hope it never happens, but please, somebody tell me if I'm right or wrong here. One day, and hopefully it never comes, Colin Kaepernick's house gets robbed, or something happens, or he needs help. Who's he gonna call? Like the Ghostbusters movie. Who are you gonna call? You gonna call Black Lives Matter? You gonna call DeRay? You gonna call the people in Louisiana who are rioting? You gonna call the people in Ferguson who are burning down CVS's and homes and black-owned businesses? Who are you gonna call? The coward's going to pick up the phone and call 911. The utter disrespect for police officers in this country is the result of one thing and one thing only, and that's President Barack Obama allowing this to happen. Instead of taking a stand and saying, listen to me, enough of the victim mentality, let's move on, stand up for ourselves, and do what we have to do as a community. Now, President Obama runs around and says that if Tyron Martin was his son, he'd look like him. You believe that? If Obama had a son. Oh, if Obama had a son! He'd be a black guy that was shot. Mayor Comrade de Blasio of New York City says that if his son, he fears for his son's safety when he walks outside, not because gangs will kill, not because criminal enterprises will go crazy, not because of a drug trade that's out of control, not because of the lack of personal safety in New York City. No, he fears that the police will shoot his son. Oh, the horror! I can't make this crap up. We got elected officials running around literally siding with the bad guys. It's like a sick movie. They're siding with the bad guys. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to get at here is that Colin Kaepernick is an absolute disgrace. We all knew this. But I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about the utter ridiculousness of the Black Lives Matter protesting. Because it really is ridiculous. Standing up and fighting, killing, slaughtering, and destroying your own neighborhood and other black people in your community is ridiculous. And for whatever reason we're supposed to accept as white people, it's not a racial thing, this is what they say. They make it about race. Then the minute I bring up race myself in my argument to disprove their arguments, I'm called a racist. Doesn't that make your head spin? And it makes me sick. It makes me absolutely sick. I don't even want to be a part of it anymore. I don't even want to be talking about it, but you know what? Unfortunately, the more and more rioting we have, the more and more times we see these protesters get up and talk about this crap, the more and more we see celebrities endorsing these people, and politicians and presidents of the United States of America get up and stand up and talk with these people and side with them, the more and more it should shock. The more and more it should get you angry. The more and more we got to talk about it. The left are calling him a hero. Fusion. Remember the guy Jose? Is it Jose? Right? Jorge Ramos, the guy who interrupted Donald Trump's speech. Fusion has a whole thing on their websites. It's nothing but a leftist rag. Social justice page. I swear I can't make this up. Anyway, they call Colin Kaepernick will eventually be seen as a hero, just as Muhammad Ali. Yeah, ask Muhammad Ali. One of the greatest fighters to ever live? Absolutely. But politically, he joined the Nation of Islam, for Christ's sake. They wanted black separatist movements to take stronger hold in American society. They wanted to completely isolate themselves from white people. How the hell is it that racist in and of itself? I'll never forget what I heard on a Fox News Sunday talk show one day. They had a guest come on. She was a liberal college professor. She was a black woman. She was a part of the Black Lives Matter protest. She was thoroughly in favor of Black Lives Matter. She had the shirt and everything. Anyway, she sat there against a black conservative talk show host who disagreed with Black Lives Matter. And she turns around and she says to the guest and the host of the program, Black people can never be racist because racism implies power. I thought racism just means hating somebody else because of their race, or hating a group of people because of their race. I don't know what power has to do with it. Lumping all white people together and saying we have privilege, etc. Sounds racist to me. But what are you going to do? We need new leadership in this country. And I hope Donald Trump is able to come in and completely change the course of how things are being done. Specifically on race relations. Because the man hasn't said anything racist in his time running for president, and I will defend that till I die. We're going to break. When we return to the Vito and Vito Show, forget about it a moment to some more about this stuff when we return.
Who might you save?
Your mother, your father, your husband, uncle, aunt, son.
Learn FAST, F-A-S-T, the sudden signs of a stroke, and you could save.
Your friend, teacher, boss.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. F-A-S-T. That's F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in the recovery of
your neighbor, the waiter, grandmother, grandfather.
So learn FAST, the sudden signs of a stroke, then pass it on, because you never know who might save you.
Your wife, your colleague.
Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs, the California Society of CPAs, and the Ad Council.
Fighting the Common Core standards? Need a powerful tool to help inform others on this harmful education initiative? You're covered with Common Ground on Common Core, the collection of essays by 20 top education experts and activists. Reviewers call it the best single resource on the topic. You can share it with literally anyone. Order your print or digital copy of Common Ground on Common Core today. Just visit resoundingbooks.org. That's resoundingbooks.org. And get $2 off when you tell them Vito and Vito sent you. Paid for by Resounding Books Pack.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was
the
fine.
most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ReadyPA.org. Brought to you by ReadyPA, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
We are back on the Vito and Vito Show. Check out the website, www.vitoandvito.com. Give us a follow, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Vito and Vito Show. Before we get on to Forget About It moments, I just want to fill everybody in on the debt alert. Yes, there is. I'm making it a new part of the show. Debt alert. The national debt has hit $19.5 trillion for the first time ever this week. 7 months ago, we were at $19 trillion. We have spent, ladies and gentlemen, or we are on our way, rather, to $20 trillion by the end of Obama's term. If that's not shocking, I do not know what is. How the hell can you run a country with $19.5 trillion in debt and counting? The debt is a sum total of annual budget deficits plus interest, and those annual deficits are soon expected to rise again in the coming years. What's driving the debt? Everyone should know this. If you're a leftist listening to the show, you probably don't, but you're probably going to tell me the military. The military is 60% of the federal budget, and it's being cut. Yeah, no, the main drivers of the debt, this goes out to the Bernie Sanders fans, is Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, which make up 50% of the federal deficit. Yeah. Thank you. My producer over here is laughing at me. That's 50% of the federal budget right there. So the only way you're going to reform the debt in this country is to reform those entitlement systems. Here's the kicker. Who's going to touch that issue? Because Obama ain't going to touch it. He just grew it. Obamacare. Medicaid. Grew tenfold under President Obama. Even though health insurance companies are leaving the system, it still grew. So what are you going to do? You need a president that's strong enough, that's willing to tackle these issues head on. And hopefully President Trump could do that, because you know Hillary ain't going to do that. Forget about it, moments of the week here on the Vito and Vito Show.
Forget about it?
Forget about it.
Forget about it. Paul, forget about it.
That's right. Forget about it, moments here on the Vito and Vito Show. We break down some of the craziest moments here in today's society. Right now it's just me. Hopefully the other Vito will show up soon. Probably won't. Just joking. He'll take the day off. He'll be back next week. We can pal around here on the Forget About It moments of the week. But let me just break down some crazy moments for you. We're going to have more than just 3. We're going to go back. I'm going to give you a nice list here. Here's a good one. You guys are going to love this. Burning Man is this week. Burning Man is a festival in Nevada at the Black Rock City. The term, I don't know. It's been around for a while, this Burning Man thing. It's a whole music festival. There's art exhibitions, drum circles, guerrilla theatrics. I mean, it's like a hippie fest. Anyway, there's an orgy dome. Yeah, there's an I can't make this up. There's an orgy dome at this place. It's run by a group called And Then There's Only Love. The 24-hour giant tent that is a sex-positive, consensual space for couples and more sums to play. The combination of love in all forms. So pretty much it's a big orgy. Cool. I'm not going to be the one to be against this. Let people knock themselves out. Some people are going to say that it's a degradation of moral society in America. Come on. What? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Look, sex has always been around. Is it absolutely out of this world? Come on. Sex. In a tent. Pretty cool, though. I think it's cool. I don't know. You tell me. I just don't even, I have no clue anymore. The world, what's happening to the world, man? There's orgy tents. I wonder what the STD rate is in these things. Like, how many people are running around with, like, diseases up the wazoo as a result of going orgy? Like, I get it, the whole rock and roll thing, and that's awesome and cool, and I got no problem with it. There should be no laws against this. I'm a libertarian, so of course not. But, however, I don't know. A tent for an orgy? I don't know. Whatever. People are happy. I just wonder how many people, like the state of Nevada, I'm dying to know what the STD counts are going to be. So watch yourselves for the next couple of weeks, ladies and gentlemen. If you plan on going out and having promiscuous sex, which is cool, got no problem with that. But if you're going to do it, make sure you ask them the question if they've been to Burning Man. If they were in the sex tent. Anyway, let's see what else we got going on here. Georgetown to give slave descendants priority for admission. You see, again, we're back to this. Georgetown University, a prestigious university, is going to give slave descendants priority for admissions. I mean, how is that not racist? We're living in, that has nothing to do with modern society. Nothing whatsoever. And yet, here they are, Georgetown University, going back in time, bringing up the white guilt and the anti-Americanism, which is what these colleges teach, the anti-America ways. And they're going to come up and they're going to just blast America and they're going to give descendants of slave priority for admissions. Whatever. I mean, what at this point, what else could we do besides just scream about this? Because every time I'm doing this show, the more and more crap that comes up on the screen, it should just, it should scare the crap out of everybody. Why? Why does this need to be done? It's not like this happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Nobody was around during slavery. Nobody was around for that injustice. And for whatever reason, we continue to make a big deal about it now. Oh, I can't even. I lose my patience every time we get to this part of the show. Every time. More about Colin Kaepernick. He's going to protest this. This is the best. You're going to love this one. Kaepernick set to protest the national anthem on Military Night in San Diego. Yeah. So, how does Colin Kaepernick... Now, he said before, he's not... he has friends in the military. That doesn't mean to disrespect people who are in the military when he's protesting like that by sitting on the bench and not standing for the national anthem. Yeah, well, explain to me how Colin Kaepernick is not disrespecting military families when he doesn't stand up and show his appreciation for the sacrifices they made to this country so you can throw a football. Explain to me how that's not disrespectful. Again, the left are going to call him a hero. I've heard it already on college campuses. He's a hero. He's standing for what he believes in. Or sitting. Yep. This is the world we live in. It gets sicker and sicker every single time we do these things. These shows, these forget about it moments, just makes you go to the wall. Anyway, I want to thank you for listening to the Vito and Vito Show. Check out the website, www.vitoandvito.com. I appreciate it. You guys are the bomb. I want you guys also to check out Behind Enemy Lines Radio. Go to the website, BEL is the tab. Click on that for us. Take us to another great radio program. They're absolutely phenomenal. We'll be at Values Voters Summit next week, covering the Values Voters Summit. And try to score some interviews with some great people. I will argue religion there. It's going to be fun. As my conservative Christian friend, the other Vito, will argue with me as well. So we'll see. This could be okay. We're going to see where this goes. We're going to have fun with this. As I am not the religious type that the other Vito is, but it's all right. We get along. I still believe in liberty. I still believe in religious freedom. That's why I'm going down there. Because Christians are being persecuted in this country every single day, and they need to be left alone. Because people have a right to be a Christian. And that's the God honest truth. The Vito and Vito Show. I want to thank you for listening. Again, check out the website, www.vitoandvito.com. Give us a follow, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, at Vito and Vito Show. The other Vito will be back here next week, and the show will commence as usual. Thanks for listening to the Vito and Vito Show. Have a great night, a better tomorrow, and remember, in Brooklyn, it's nothing but the truth.